Welcome back to episode 22 of the Clock End Tap Room. We've done 22 episodes and we haven't had any actual games to talk about, have we? So we've got some actual football on the way, lads. Tomorrow it'll be when this comes out. Our season gets underway against Coventry. We're going to do our big Premier League preview here. Lots of predictions, lots of different takes about stuff. But let's get straight into it. Our predictions. We're going to start with the Arsenal predictions. See where they are, where we think they're going to finish.
Fuck, I knew you'd say second. I knew you'd say second. Fucking misery guts. I knew you'd say second.
I don't know. I think it'll be tagging that back in about 10 minutes. All right, go on then. What are you then? You're the people who have predicted first. Give me your reasons.
Go on, Nathan.
For me, it's just a case of not just where we are as a club, but where everybody else is as a club at the moment. I think there's too many unknown quantities. City have lost Pep and have brought Maresca in. I actually quite like Maresca. I think he's got something about him. I don't think he's done necessarily a bad job. I understand why people don't like him. I get that. But on the pitch, he has got results. Obviously, it went a bit skew with at Chelsea, but I genuinely think that was more to do with him just losing his head off the pitch and in the dressing room. But yeah, obviously, you lose the best manager possibly of all time, depending on what side of the fence you want to sit on. That's not going to be an easy transition. You look at Liverpool; they've got another new manager in. I actually think this one skirts me more than the rest of them. I think this could be a match made in heaven. That manager, that team, I genuinely think that could be dynamite. I really do. But again, it's all brand new this season, so it'll take time to mould how he wants it and all that kind of stuff. Newcastle, another new manager. Spurs have got a new manager. They've been throwing the money around, and things like that. The shackles have come off since Levy's gone, and they've got a manager who's got a very good reputation. But again, it's all new. So many new managers, so many squad rebuilds that are needed, and that are going to happen naturally because of new managers and things like that. Whereas I think we're in the best place I think we've ever been as a club, certainly since sort of the back end of the Wenger era, where we're settled. We're champions. We've got that confidence. We've got a settled squad, a settled team. We won't need to change much. I just think we're the best set up team in the league to go and have a run at every competition. And I think there's a bit of a gap in terms of how settled we are. I'm not talking about quality or anything like that. I'm not disrespecting any of the teams whatsoever. I am not saying that we are going to run away with it. I'm just saying that purely from a point of we've got an established manager, we've got an established team. I think we are on paper the best team set up, ready to go as of right now. And that's what makes me think that we'll get this one. I normally, in every other season, I'd be with you, Dave. I'd say second at best. But I just think that given everything that's going on around us, as well as where we are as a club, the confidence that we've now got, having got that big trophy off our back, yeah, I think we're the best placed team in the Premier League right now to go and have a go at it.
Anything disagree with there, Nath? Fize, sorry.
No, not really. I'm interested in hearing what you've got to say for yourself.
I'm just concerned about how we start this season. I think that we've got a lot of players not 100%. I think we're missing. I think Saliba, he's so important to us. I think he is our best defender. I know we've had this discussion one way or the other throughout our 21 previous episodes. But for me, Saliba is the best defender in the world.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't think you can. I think it's getting a little bit understated just how important that could be for us, especially with Timber out potentially as well. As we've mentioned before, any injury to that defence right now, and we are, we're struggling a bit. Rice, it seemed like he was being held together with gaffer tape by the end of that World Cup. not far from that. I think maybe he's going to take a little bit of time to get into the season. Saka's got his issues. I just wonder if we're going to struggle a little bit early part of the season, and I just wonder if we struggle early. I think we're going to fall behind early and have a really good second half of the season, which is why when we get to our next predictions, then maybe I think our concentration might go elsewhere. If we struggle, the first half of the season, we're a bit behind, and there's other competitions maybe we could put all our focus on. That's the main reason for second. And I do think Liverpool might get it right this year. I think as Nate said in his, that I think they might be a match made in heaven as a manager and a squad, and they made a lot of big signings a year ago who didn't really do a lot for them. And I wonder if this year it might be that they come good, or you've got to think they're going to be better than last year anyway, haven't you? And I don't know, they've got a good squad, potentially a great manager. I don't know, I just worry about them in particular, and how we are in this early part of the season.
Okay, no, that's a good try. I'm not having Liverpool's manager as anything more than Bournemouth's ex-manager until he proves otherwise. I'm not having the £500 million they spent on these players doing better than them last year. These, that not just to attack you, Dave, although I feel you should be attacked for saying second. But basically,
we couldn't all go first, could we?
Yeah, we should. We're champions.
Well, I'll attack you both for the next one.
Yeah. Well, look, this is the thing, right? So I'm gonna say this, right, and it's something that I suffer from as well. 20 odd years without any kind of real success at the football club. It doesn't leave you after one season, mate. That PTSD,
no,
it doesn't. And I think that's part of our kind of coping mechanism. Yeah, I'm talking about like collective conscious, the whole fan base. We don't want to say it because then people will be like kind of, oh, see, you lot thought you were going to win it. Typical Arsenal fans. No, mate, we finished first. We're defending champions. Literally wiped the floor with a B team with Man City. So, yeah, forgive me if I'm a little bit out of my cage with this, but do you know what I mean? Honestly, I think everything Nath said is absolutely spot on. We are settled as a squad. We're just improving. Signed one of the best midfielders out of the Premier League that we could actually get. City, like, I don't know why Maresca's rated. What's he done? He got Leicester up, and then he won the Trump Cup or something in America. That's it. And he was sacked 6 months later. As soon as he got tapped up by Man City, he was done. So for everything that kind of we're attaching to ourselves is much more likely in those clubs. Because last year, if I remember correctly, Iraola with his own squad built at Bournemouth was like relegation until about November. And then suddenly got better and better. So that could take time. Most likely will. Isak's got to play a whole season because Ekatike's out for like God knows how long. They've lost Mohamed Salah. They've still got Van Dijk and Alisson. Like their midfield, their central midfield, massively underperformed last year. So yeah, they might do better, but they have got to be so much better to be better than us. Same goes for Man City. Man City have got good players, but literally, I would not have anyone from City apart from Haaland. Their whole season depends on the form of Erling Haaland. And even then, I just don't think they've got... I think Maresca, as much... The worst thing a club can do is when they go from a generational manager and they try to find a clone of him. It just won't work. United went with Moyes thinking, it's going to be something close to what Fergie was like. I don't know what we were doing, hiring fucking whatever his name was, Villa's manager. But you and they've clearly City have gone, well, he's bald and he's not overweight, so he might look decent in a suit. Let's just get him in. Let's see how it goes. He used to work for Pep, and he's done nothing to prove that he's going to be that. So we're attributing a lot of like positive spin on problems that other people have got. And you know what? if you saw us play those, which I'm sure you guys did, if you saw us play those friendlies, we didn't look like we wanted anything. As soon as a game mattered, the champions turned up. So I think we're going to win this, and we're going to win this like handsomely. And yes, we've got problems, but I think we'll address them in the transfer market. But yeah, I think I am more than happy to be, just to put it out there and say, that's it, we're winning this. We're going again. And I know our next prediction is to do with a different competition, but I genuinely think, I don't know what you guys think, I genuinely think going back to back in the Premier League is our priority more than other competitions.
I think at this stage it is. Yeah, I think if they had to rank priorities or whatever, I think it would probably be that. I think that
it's just a natural progression, isn't it? That's what the natural next target would be in any normal season. And to be fair to you, Dave, in any other season, I'd jump on board with what you were saying. But I just think that the amount of disruption in the other teams, I don't think they'll take advantage of if we have a slow start. I'm not saying that we will, but I just don't. Even if we did, I think everybody else is going to be in the same boat, and I think that's why we get away with it, and that's why I've put us first. That is. But in any other season, I totally get your point of view, Dave. It makes total sense.
I just think we haven't really done anything to really address the attack, where we had so many issues last year, and
Agreed.
I think our defence is probably going to be worse for a portion of the season at the very least. So yeah, I don't know. That's the only reason. It's not like I think I wouldn't be shocked if we win it or anything like that, but I think it was that was all.
I get it. I do get it.
Well, let's move on to the Champions League then. And you two pessimistic bastards.
Ooh.
I did not see that coming.
Go on, Dave.
This is it. I think we're going to have a slow start to the season, and I think our priorities will shift. And I think that we can not concentrate on one, but I think maybe we'll see us go more in for this one. And I don't know. I just got a feeling that we just the way it plays out. Saliba will be back, fresh and rested come Christmas time probably, and then that's when the real Champions League starts, isn't it? After Christmas. So yeah, I think we've got a really good squad, and I think we perform better in Europe and stuff like that. I think our attack looks better when we play European teams as a whole, doesn't it? But I just think we're built to win cup competitions in a lot of ways. In some ways we're built more for that than we are winning a league, which is obviously we won the league last year and didn't win any cup competitions. But I think the way that we set up and the way our set likes to play, I think it does just sort of lend itself to cup football, which obviously you have the massive group, but eventually it's cup football, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know. I think we win this one, and that's why that's sort of why I went for second in the other one, because I think towards the end of the season it wouldn't surprise me if we start to concentrate on this if we're a little bit behind and the league's almost gone, but concentrate on this. So what about you two? Why have you just gone for semis?
Go Fize, I'll let you lead on this one.
That is a magnificent trophy, though, isn't it? I really want it.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be nice. Look, I could have easily have said we win it, much like Dave in the Premier League predictions. This is where I feel like I think over a 38-game season, our squad is clearly strong enough to repeat back-to-back, sort of like repeat the champions, winning it again, should I say, and become like, back-to-back winners. I just think that when it comes to the Champions League, we're just a bit short up front. That's it. We're about as good as... I wouldn't be surprised if we get knocked out in the quarters or the semis. I wouldn't be surprised if we won it. I take your point. We are tactically built up for that two-legged ties. We can beat anyone when it comes to it. We've shown that.
There's a touch on Mourinho about our squad, isn't there? Or
there
like
is, yeah.
Arteta and how he sets us up.
Massive sort of pragmatism involved in what we do, right? I just don't think we have that bit of magic that can take us all the way, because cups, because of the nature of it, the knockout style of it, you need a lot more luck, and then have just that little bit of elite talent. Not very good players who will put in good numbers over the course of a 38 game season. This is just down to sometimes just 90 minutes, and sometimes I think we lack that sort of penetration. But we got to the final last year, and I'm talking myself into saying we're going to win this as well now. But we got to the final last year with like literally just not scoring any goals because the defense was that good, and I just don't think we'll play like that this year. And it'll be interesting to see where we go. I could have picked winner, semi, or quarterfinals because I just don't know how our attack will. I'll tell you what, I'm happy to change that to winner if we sign Osimhen.
Huh?
But I'm sticking with what I've got.
Fair enough. What about you, Nath?
I think Fize has it right. I think we're just missing that X factor, the magic, that player who's going to transform a game for us, who's going to, we had it with Rice against Real Madrid, for example, with the 2 free kicks. That's as close to euphoria with Arsenal as I've been for a long, long time in a one-off game.
Yeah.
That was just wow. Do you know what I mean? And I just don't think we have enough of that. I think as a team, we are the second best team in this competition because PSG are the best. And the reason why PSG are the best is because they have got multiple magical players. They haven't just got one. They have got multiple magic in their team. Dembele won the Ballon d'Or. Whether you agree with it or not, he won it. Kvaratskhelia is, for me, the best player in the world. I would happily subscribe just to watch him on a football pitch, and I would pay all the money in the world for it. I think he is that good. He is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And he was the difference, by the way, in the final against us. It was him. It was his magic that got Mosquera to dive in for that tackle. And let's have it right. He targeted the weakest person in that defensive line and got him to commit that foul and win the penalty. That's next level intelligence. They've got Doué as well, who completes that sort of 3. Then you look at sort of Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz comes up with goals from nowhere. They're just unbelievable. I don't think we have a player, and this feels massively disrespectful to the likes of Rice and Saka. There are 2 superstars. I just don't think in the way that we play, they're allowed to be that magical player. Now, if we change that this season, if we become a little bit more attacking, we could do it, but I don't know. It just always feels in Europe that at least one team has our number. It's not always the same team, but there's always one team that we come up against that we just can't figure out and can't solve. And plus as well, I think last year we had a phenomenally easy run as well, let's be honest. I know that you can only play what's put in front of you. That's all these people saying like, oh, you only got to the final because you had a dead easy run. Well, that's not our problem. We were told to beat these teams, and that's exactly what we did. That's just the rules. The draw's made. You've got to go and beat that team that's in front of you. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think we get that kind of run again. And I think that'll make it a lot more difficult.
I do wonder though if if you're the other teams, if we're the team that they would want to avoid as well.
Oh God, yeah.
I think teams would hate to play against us. I don't think any team would want to draw us because it's going to be a horrible game to play for all of them.
1,000,000%. Like I said, mate. I put us only behind PSG. Nobody else scares me. Even Bayern don't scare me. We can beat them and we can do it comfortably. Yeah. It's PSG are the only ones that frighten me. I just think that we're just missing that little bit of a sparkle, that bit of a. I know I'm going to bang this drum again, but Vinny Jr. would have been perfect. He would have been that little bit extra that we don't currently have. As a team, we're phenomenal. As a collective, with that pragmatism from Arteta as well, it works, especially in these type of competitions. But we just need that little bit of absolute magic dust just to push us over the line. I don't think we've got it.
It is hard with that because, honestly, as a right winger, fully fit, I don't think there's a single player I'd swap for Saka. But I just don't think he's allowed to be what he can be in this lineup and in this team. But, you know, what he does do for the team is probably better than any right winger could do for us as well, you know, defensively and all that sort of side of things. But, you know, as an absolute star, I just don't think there's any right winger I would go, yeah, definitely give me him over Saka.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that as well. I just think that he's not. I don't know. I feel horrible saying it, but he's not got that bit of magic, that little bit of like, oh my god! Like he's an amazing player. He's a top tier player. He's an elite player, and he will get into any team around the world. But I don't know. I just don't see him in that bracket of Kvaratskhelia and Dembele and Mbappe and Vinny Jr. and those types of players, those exotic names. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's just me, just like a weird.
I think if Saka went to PSG, I think he would outperform a bunch of those. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. I think Dembele, I think he massively benefits from playing about 5 games a season and just, you know, playing when they need him to. You know, we've seen him play at Barcelona. He couldn't hack it really. You know,
I get it. I do get it. I do get it. I
think PSG is such a special case that they're not the same as any other club in Europe, really, where they do get to basically just take. If Dembele wants to take a month off, he can, and they'll still win the league. You know, if he just wants to go and have a rest on the beach for a few weeks, he can do because it really doesn't matter. And I think that's the difference with PSG. And you know, I think that a lot of players would, if they were in that PSG team, would look just as good as some of those players they have in their team. You know, I think Rice would be as good as any midfielder they've got. You know, I think there's other players around that would, you know, shine if they were at that PSG team.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, that is something we have to face as well, that they do have that advantage. So that's a massive thing for them.
It's not going to change, is it? Do you know what I mean? That's just something that we have to factor in, and I think we did it well last year. But like I say, I think this year, there isn't that player that I would look to. Declan Rice will be the one player that I would look to in our team to say, if anyone's going to do anything, it'll be him, just because of his unnatural stamina, his unnatural ability to grab the game by scruff of the neck and go, do you know what, lads, let's just go one more time, let's just go one more. He's that guy, isn't he? He's that guy who just won't give up.
I think Fize mentioned it on the last episode, and I tweeted it out last week. I think no matter who we sign, left winger or whatever it is, I think if this team's going to be like reach another level, I think it's going to be because Odegaard becomes Odegaard again, and you know, I think he is a player that can be that player for us.
I think you're right. I think he has got that in his locker. It's just getting it out of him, and getting, you know, great positive.
We need to free him up a bit. I think just free him up to do a bit more rather than always just pressing everything, and you know, let him be on the ball more.
And I think signing Bruno is going to be a massive part of that, because I think you can say to Declan Rice and Bruno, just sit, have them two as and form a back six if you want, and you're almost playing a 6 and a 4. You know, obviously that's not realistic, but that's in my mind that's how it works. Because you've signed them two, you could easily go 6 and 4, or you could swap it and have 4 and 6 and have your wing backs pushing forward. Do you know what I mean? But the split will always be a 6 and a 4 split, whichever way you want to do it. And I think by doing that, we will see a lot more of Odegaard, because he won't have to get dragged into coming back that deep anymore. I don't think he'll need to do that. He can just concentrate on what he does best. Fingers crossed, anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, let's move on to our player of the season. And this is just Arsenal player of the season. We're going to do Arsenal picks first, then we're going to do some more other Premier League ones. So let's move on to our player of the season. I'll just mention him there. I think we get him back. I think there were signs in the World Cup. I think there were signs on Sunday that maybe he's fitter than he's been for 2-3 years now. I don't know. I just think that we could see a lot from him. I mean, Fize, you want to go for you take Odegaard, and then we'll get to Raya after, shall we?
I'll make you right. Yeah. So much of everything that we do that's good, that we've enjoyed, including last season where he was poor by his own admission and what we witnessed.
Sorry, I should just say this is Odegaard for people that listen on the podcast, not viewed on YouTube. I forgot to actually mention his name. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Martin Odegaard. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Fize have both picked him. Just so you know.
So I think I don't think it was down to tactical reasons why he underperformed. I mentioned it in the previous pod that we did earlier in the week. I think it was genuinely down to just his physical condition. He looked weak. He looked kind of scrawny. Like when he first turned up at Arsenal, he looked like devoid of. There was no color in his face. You know what I mean? There was like a. It looked like he'd been on a bender the night before. That's what it looked like. You know, he looked like he just got smashed, and was trying to play a game of football afterwards. Something that I know quite a lot about. So this year with the World Cup. I think I read somewhere that he played 40% of the games on average the last 2 seasons for Arsenal. So he's been struggling, and he's had injury after injury after injury. So if he
a couple
can,
of bad ones as well, in there wasn't there? The injuries.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, and a couple like compounded ones as well, where like he had one, and then in his recovery he got the same thing again, and so it was double the injury kind of thing. But make no mistake, Martin Odegaard is one of the most elite football players in the world. Yeah, to play how he plays when he's on form, with that kind of swagger, with the kind of technique, the vision. I mean, we saw glimpses of it at the World Cup, and we saw a really solid performance against Man City, no less, in the Charity Shield. And if we get that Odegaard for the let's say 80% of the season, then I don't think anyone even comes close. He's a glorious footballer, and I make Nathan right about Declan Rice and Saka, but there is something just literally poetic about Martin Odegaard when he plays well, and for all intents and purposes, it looks like that he's ready to have a really good season. So fingers crossed he stays fit, and if he stays fit, you're looking at our player of the season, I think.
Yeah, I'll be right. To me, he's what Ozil was, but the modern version. Ozil was sort of a bit of a, I don't know. I think the modern game just passed him by Ozil, but Odegaard does so much of that. But he plays that 10 in a similar way, but just with the modern way of you can press, you can do all the other stuff that Ozil probably couldn't do.
So in a weird way, he plays for us how Ozil played for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And funny that he came from Real Madrid, Odegaard, because he would have been the most natural replacement for Ozil. But I think Ozil, we've talked about it before, but Ozil kind of signed for Arsene Wenger. It didn't matter where Arsene Wenger was at that time, and he was happy to play for a big club, but he knew what we were at the time. He wasn't under any illusions. Whereas Odegaard now is a Premier League champion captain for Arsenal. So, and I don't think we've seen the best. If Martin Odegaard is going to be one of the players that we remember most in a few years' time, and we look back on his career or whatever at Arsenal, Martin Odegaard has to have one of those. Because Martin Odegaard, the way he plays football, like lads, jokes aside and whatever, all seriousness, Martin Odegaard looks like the kind of lad who wears, on a particular night in London, he'll have a black tuxedo on, black bow tie, and he'll be holding up that player of the season type, because he's that kind of footballer. There's nobody that watches Martin Odegaard that thinks that guy does not know how to play football at an absolute elite level. So I think Martin Odegaard has got, on his own, because this is player of the season we're talking about, I think Martin Odegaard on his own has the capability, has the faculty. If he just gets the fitness, he's got a player of the season in him. And I think it's this year.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Well, Nate, let's get on to yours then. I don't think either of us would argue if this ended up with the result, but I've gone for Raya as your player of the season for Arsenal.
Yeah, I was torn between sort of Raya and Declan Rice, and the reason why I didn't pick Dec was because I think that his performances are so high every game. It's just taken as a bit of a, people just expect it. It's taken as, well, that's the norm, and it's not normal at all. The performances that he puts in on such a regular basis, that is not normal. But yeah, for me, Raya's our most important player on the pitch. The amount of times that he digs us out of holes, making some ridiculous saves, keeping them clean sheets, I think he will be our player of the season. I think he will get us points that other players won't. I think he'll be the one to turn 1 point into 3 points by not conceding goals, especially when you look at, like we've said, there's issues in defence. Sleeper's going to be out for a while. Timber's going to be out for a while as well, by all accounts. So that defence is going to get breached more than it did last season. I think if we change the style of play, which we all think we will, and we all hope that we will, it's going to put more pressure on Raya, and I think he will deliver as well. I just think that there's no goalkeeper out there that comes close to how good he is. Distribution is always very good. The way that he plays that sweeper keeper role, all right, he gets caught out. Let's not beat around the bush. He's been caught out a couple of times, and it's always disappointing when you see him getting lobbed from 40, 50 yards out. But if that only happens twice in a season and we go on to win those games anyway, when he gets it, the amount of times he gets it right compared to when he gets it wrong is night and day. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I hope you guys are right about Odegaard. I really do. I'd love for him to be our player of the season, and I hope he has the sort of season that we think he can have back at his best. I really do. But I just think for me, even if he does that, Raya's going to be the one that will guarantee those points for us.
Do you have any concerns that he seems to be growing his hair like David Seaman?
The
little ponytail coming out.
Not yet, but if things start to go right, if he doesn't cut it immediately, I will be upset.
It worked for Seaman, didn't it? So maybe it can. He's bringing it back.
Absolutely.
That's Arsenal legend, that ponytail. Well, let's move on to our breakout stars. Again, this is only Arsenal. I think we feel, they're interesting picks. I mean, I might as well start. I went for Lewis Skelly. I just think we're going to see a lot more of him this season than maybe some expected. And yeah, I think he's just going to excel. I think he's looked great every time he's played in midfield, pretty much. I think the more he plays there, the better he's going to look. And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of him this season, because I really do think Arteta he has to get better rotation, and I think it's going to be part of it. And if he doesn't, then we're in for another rough year of player injuries. But for me, I think we're going to see a lot of Lewis Skelly, and I do think just watch him in that Community Shield game. I think he does so much good stuff that we don't get from a lot of other places in this squad, and I think that's going to be the thing that makes him sort of stand out, maybe compared to some others where he does stuff that others just aren't willing to do. And I think some don't like that he takes some risks and takes some chances, but for me, I think we sort of need it where we can be so conservative, especially in attack, that we can be so conservative. And I think we're going to see Lewis Skelly really shine this year in midfield and in this team. So yeah, that's mine. I mean, Nath, do you want to go for yours?
Yeah, I struggled with this question because I don't think we've really got. I don't think we've got anyone that can break out who.
Yeah, they're all sort of stars already, aren't they?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I totally get why you two have picked your picks. I do get that. I just think that they've already done it. They've already done it to a certain degree. In terms of stepping up another level, I make you both right. So I just threw in one of the new signings, and like we've already I think we covered it on the last podcast. I've picked Zolis just because he's had a wonderful pre-season. Goals, assists. I just think that we knew nothing about this guy. We probably still know nothing about this guy given who we've played and the fact that it's pre-season and stuff. But like I said, it's more to do with, I think, that the players that we've already currently got in the squad, I feel, have already broken out. So that's why I've gone for a new boy, and I think this guy could be a lot better than what we've paid for him, and he could be a lot better than what we think. I think we said when we signed him, he could be anything. He could be absolutely toilet water, or he could be, we could have genuinely unearthed one of the best in Europe. That is the scale, because we just don't know. But yeah, I think he's going to have a fantastic season. I think he's going to make that left wing his own, especially if we don't bring anyone in. And yeah, I just think that given that everyone's already broken out, I think he's going to be the guy.
Yeah. That's fair. Fize, what about yours?
Mine's Max Dowman. Lads, I genuinely think we've got a superstar on our hands here. So, for me, every single time I've seen him play football, he looks amazing. So, everything he's done in terms of impact, in terms of other people talking about him, in terms of moments, in terms of everything you could want from a player, Max Dowman has. He goes past players, he shoots. He's got a good goal scoring record. He takes people on. He's got great touch on him, great vision. He's genuine. I think he's the genuine article, lads. I genuinely think that we are. Sometimes things go for you, right? You build a good foundation at a club. You try to do things the right way. You get an academy going. You get your first team performing well and succeeding. I mean, we can't fucking sell anyone for shit. But that being aside, everything's healthy at the club, and then sometimes you get a bit of luck that comes through, and I think this is the player, lads. This is the player, and if all things being equal, someone is going to lose. Someone is going to lose their spot to Max Dowman.
Yeah.
Someone's going to lose their spot to Max Dowman because he passes the eye test, he passes the stats, he passes every metric you measure a good footballer on. He passes all of them. And you know what? He's a child, mate. And I've never seen a footballer after Wayne Rooney who's like young enough to just play them. I don't think he's going to be like. It's highly unlikely he's going to end up being like a Messi or a Ronaldo or something. But why fucking not?
Yeah.
Why fucking not? So for me, breakout star Max Dowman. He showed bits of it last year, and I think come Christmas, I think he's forcing someone out of the team. And I wouldn't be bothered if we didn't sign a left winger. Start Dowman. I get. We've got Zolis isn't going to play 40 games, and if we're forcing Martinelli out, start Dowman.
I mean, that's the hardest thing for him.
Right.
His sort of best positions really look like right wing or 10, don't they? And they're pretty set. But yeah, if he can play on the left, then there's definitely a way in there, I think.
He could play anywhere, mate. He's obviously that good. Do you know what I mean? He could play anywhere, mate. So I think personally, breakout star this year is Max.
I just think, just to jump on the back of that as well, like we won the league last year, and he was coming off the bench and changing games.
Yeah.
So and I'm not just talking. Everyone's going to say, "Oh, you're talking about one game. It was just one game, the Everton game." No, the amount of times he came on, and every single player that he came up against had to foul him to stop him. That was the only way they could stop him, was to foul him. The amount of fouls that he got because they just didn't know what to do with him, and obviously, set piece FC that played right into our hands.
Yeah,
you can't underestimate that. I feel like he broke out last season. This season, we're just going to see more and more, and he's going to get better and better and better. But yeah, I think if I hadn't picked Zolis, Dowman would have been my pick as well, because I don't want to pile pressure on him, because I hate when the English press, like, he's the next Rooney, he's the next whatever. No, he's not. He's Max Dowman, and he's a 17-year-old lad. Just let him be a 17-year-old lad. Let him be Max Dowman. Let him be whatever he is going to be. Don't put all this fucking bullshit pressure on it. I know we're talking about it like he's a generational talent, and I know that, like, you can't help but do that when a player comes through. But we're not saying, like, like I said, like, we're not saying that he's going to be Messi or Ronaldo. We're not saying that. We're just saying that he's an exciting player. He's very good. He can start now. But let him. Let's not overwhelm him. Just let him naturally become that player.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're absolutely right, Nathan. Look, my thing is, we were going to spend 117 million quid. Well, we weren't. We were going to spend 80 odd million quid on Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Max Dowman is better than Rodgers. already.
Yeah.
If
I
not,
think
he's
it's-
on a par with him, and he's 16. And that's my point. Like, I genuinely think by the end of the season, Max Dowman plays for England.
Oh,
I think it's
I'll be stunned if he doesn't make an England squad, especially if he does
Yeah.
break into our team.
Yeah.
So
You look at some of the bums in friendlies, especially. You know, there's definitely a route. I mean, Madueke plays, doesn't he? You know, he gets in anyway. So
Look, I'm trying not to mention him in this one, right?
all right.
So, but unfortunately, one of the questions that's coming up leaves me no choice.
I get what you're saying about the left hand side. I just want to see him there first before I throw myself on that sword. I think he can do it. Don't get me wrong. I do think he can do it. I'd love to see him cutting inside because I think that's what you would do. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it first.
But the best thing, sorry, mate, but the best thing about Dowman is that he can go both ways.
Yeah.
He can cut in, and he can go the other way. But there's positive intent, and I just think, just get him up to speed with Premier League football, and I assure you, mate, someone's getting pushed out of the team.
I agree.
I think that left-hand side is an interesting one.
Yeah,
I hadn't really thought about him there, but I think it is interesting because there's a space there for someone. It could be Zolis, it could be Dowman, it could be someone else who we don't not even talking about right now who does make that their own. It could be that Eze, he's worked on it and he's does better on the left. There's so many players that have a chance to make that left-hand side their own.
So let's do the thought experiment, right? We're going to go and potentially we're talking about maybe hijacking Barcola. He'd probably end up with Liverpool, but possibly him, Rodgers, all right, Vinny Jr.'s elite level player, right? So not Vinny Jr., but what are we talking about? If Max Dowman didn't play for the Arsenal and we wanted to go and buy him, he would cost us an arm and a leg because that's the kind of that's the kind of talent level that we're expecting. That's the kind of potential that people are earmarking him with. So for me, Zolis has started amazing, and I make Nathan right. He couldn't have asked for a better start at Arsenal, Zolis. We'll see if it translates in the Premier League. I'm sure it'll take time, and there'll be ups and downs and whatever. If it was 2 years ago, Lewis Skelly, I think, had his breakout season then when he was so good at left back. But it almost feels like there has to be a rebirth with Lewis Skelly, but now in midfield, which I totally get as well. I just think that we're going to go and do £100 million on a player that we're going to be unsure of. We've literally got £100 million player sitting there.
Yeah.
And why not play him? Because if he's good enough, I'm sure he'll evolve into the number 10 that he wants to be. Which is fine by me as well. And he played there against Girona.
Yeah, he was really good.
And he was.
It feels the long-term spot, doesn't it? 10. As Odegaard gets that little bit older and he's a successor potentially.
And it allows us to sort of move on certain players that we've got there who are backing up Odegaard, like Eze, and parties that we shall not mention. But the point is, I don't just looking at it objectively, forget the age, forget the potential, forget what everyone's saying about him. Who are the best attackers in our team? And Max Dowman's one of them.
Yeah.
Max Dowman's one of them. It's just
he
that
loves
he
to
needs
get on the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, he needs the minutes, mate. He needs the minutes. And if they give him the minutes, he'll be there. And that's the best thing I can say about him. All those players that we thought of, that we know about that we've seen in our lives, right? Michael Owen, Rooney, and the elites, right? Like Messi, Ronaldo, and people like that, right? They even people go back to Thierry Henry and people like that. The one common denominator when they're sort of youth team, just good enough to train with the first team, is that they're given minutes, mate. And we probably fucked that with Ethan or whatever, but genuinely give and Saka got those minutes, which is why Saka became star boy, right?
Absolutely.
So we need to follow that plan with Dowman, because Dowman's potential exceeds Saka. Dowman's potential, not ability, his potential exceeds Saka. It exceeds everyone that we're going to give minutes to anyway. Take a chance on your own, mate.
At this same stage, I don't think we've had a better player, at the age. And we've had some really good ones. Fabregas may be the only one.
Yeah,
I
Jack
don't think
Wilshere.
Wilshere. I'm not sure Wilshere was. I'm not sure. I think Dalman looks better than Wilshere did even at the same stage. You know,
Probably
that's not
did.
even a slag off of Wilshere, but this is just how good I think Dalman is. That I think
Yeah.
he looked better than Wilshere did at the same stage.
Yeah.
I think Fabregas is the only one that even comes. You know, is the only real conversation for me. But
Yeah.
I think he's got every chance to be.
So yeah,
incredible.
so for me, it's just for him, it's minutes, mate, and I think honestly, I think it's inevitable.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Well, we've been positive for far too long. Let's get on to our flop of the season. If it'll come up, there it is. Do you want a headline or do you want to go first, Fize? Do you want to get it off your chest now?
I don't even. Is there a point? Everyone knows what it is. You knew what it was when you asked me. Everyone knows what it is. England fans know who it is now. Arsenal fans know who it is. Everyone knows apart from Mikel Arteta. And I don't get it. I don't get it. So, yes, to everyone's surprise, it's Noni Madueke.
We're going to be doing our hottest take in a minute. I might sort of do my hottest take that he scores a goal. You know.
Yeah, I mean that takes smoking, mate. That take is smoking hot because I'm not sure that happens. And if it does happen, it's not because he meant it.
He'll complete a cross to somebody. You know,
mate, he is one of the most diabolical players I've ever seen play for the Arsenal. He just is. He just is. I don't get it, mate. He's I don't know, I could think of like random players he reminds me of, but they all play for like shit clubs and like, you know, shit teams, and they were just good value. Like, you know, he's the kind of player that like Harry Redknapp would sign on deadline day for like Pompey, and somehow he plays for the Premier League champions, mate. And you know, everyone may think that I go overboard on him, and to be honest, I probably do occasionally. But he has ample opportunity to prove me wrong. Ample opportunity to say, listen, that fucking whatever his name is on that whatever podcast keeps going on about me. Well, prove me wrong, mate. I'll still be here come the end of the season, lads, and he'll do fuck all.
Oh, it's worth it just for this.
So yeah. Anyway, you know, it's beyond me, mate. It's beyond me how he's nicks a living at Premier League level. Honestly, it's just someone sat there and gone, all right. So there are all these that he does all the sprints, he does all the take-ons, all the pressuring, all the whatever, like whatever matters. You know, he covers his right back or whatever. Like he does so many crosses per game, and no one bothered to watch him play football. No one bothered to go and say, do you know what? Yeah, these stats look decent. Let me go and watch him play football. They just went, yeah, 50 million. Go on then. No, it's just ridiculous, mate. And and honestly, I will love Max Dalman forever if it's Noni that he pushes out of the team.
There's a tweet that comes up all the time about Madueke where I can't remember exactly who it is, but one of like the Arsenal stat nerds who like posted his little radar and said like ready to explode or something like that. With when we signed him, I see it get retweeted like all the time. It just always makes me laugh. Every time I see it, it makes me laugh.
They do it with and there'll be a moment, I guarantee you, as sure as night follows day, there will be a moment next season he will score a banger, mate, right? Against like fuck knows, Galatasaray or someone, right? And they'll be like, everyone will be like, oh, see, you lot, all the haters need to be quiet now, and your respect has to be as quiet, as loud as your disrespect, and all that. And then he will prove me right eventually by the end of the season again. There is no chance on earth that he has a decent season.
I'm with you. I don't disagree.
Honestly, mate, if there's no chance, there's no chance he's going to do anything apart from. And if they're saying he's going to explode, they're probably talking about my head more than anything, mate. Because that's the only thing that's going to fucking explode with Noni Madueke playing for the Arsenal.
I was just thinking that I don't even know if we said his name, but I think everyone listening on the podcast would know exactly who you're talking about there.
It's not going to happen, mate. It's not going to happen. Honestly, I think he's a ringer, mate. That Chelsea just sold us a dud, and I don't know, whoever signed him for Arsenal just needs to get fired. Just fired, regardless of what you've achieved. That was just so bad. Like, just go away. Just fuck off. So,
I mean, not to rile you up anymore, but maybe if Martinelli's going out, they're going to sort of redo the left wing experiment with him.
Oh!
It was what you signed for, wasn't it?
This is a hill that people are going to be prepared to die on, and die they shall. Because he won't let you. He won't save you. Do you remember when he come on the Champions League final and we sat there and he had that moment where everyone thought he got a penalty? Do you remember that? He ran round, I think it was Mendes, and he thought he got a penalty.
I still think it was a penalty, just for the record.
He fucked that. not Mendes. He fucked that. If you look at the replay, it's him. He's gone past Mendes, but he's holding onto Mendes' arm, sort of like that. That's what I mean, mate. He's a fucking clown, man. I get it, mate.
Well, come on then, Nath. Let's get on to yours, because I'll be honest, I've regretted not picking the same person as you, to be honest, Nathan, Calafiori, because I feel like I could go on a Madueke style rant about Calafiori at times.
Oh, please don't, mate. I'm just recovering from that. That was absolutely fantastic. That.
No, my head's gone.
So, what have you picked Calafiori for this one, mate?
It's a bit of a weird one because I do like Calafiori, but I think I like the idea of what I think I want him to be more than what he actually is. I think that's what it is. I just think that I don't know, like, he looks the part, but when you actually sit and watch him, it's like, what are you actually bringing here? Like, what, you know, all right, you get forward quite a bit. You don't really do anything when you get up there. And you're an okay defender, but you get beat quite often. And when you start sitting and looking at it, you just think, actually, like, are you that good, or do I want you to be that good? And yeah, look, you know, there was other candidates, probably better candidates, but I just think that, Calafiori is just, I don't think he's as good as what I want him to be and what I think he is, and I think that's why I think he's going to get found out this season. I think we're going to see a lot more of Nkapia than we are of Calafiori. Especially if we stay defensive as well. I think Nkapia is a much better defender. I'm not saying he's brilliant. I'm just saying he's better. And can still get forward and contribute as much, if not more, than what Calafiori does. But yeah, I think this is the season where Calafiori gets found out and everyone kind of goes, "What are you bringing?" Because I don't think he'll bring anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on it. It does my head in, to be honest. I honestly think if he was ugly, people wouldn't like him half as much. I think, you know, just the fact he's such a handsome bloke really does buy him a lot of credit. But we spoke about Harry Kane in the England team where he drops deep and it like clogs up the space and makes things harder for everyone else. I think he's the exact same thing, but in reverse. I think he goes forward, it makes things harder for everyone up there. No one's got any space because he's clogging it up. It just does my head in. It really winds me. And I think he's a really good footballer. I think like he's a natural talent. You know, I think there's something about him, and he is a good footballer.
He's a really good footballer, lads.
Yeah, he is.
I just think tactically, I think he ruins us when he's on the pitch.
I mean,
I hate it.
I get where you're coming from. The only thing that really pisses all over that argument is that goal that he scored in the Community Shield.
Yeah,
like the one time
he does score the odd goal. But say, I don't know, say Zolis was in that position, or Martinelli. If Martinelli was allowed to be in that position, Martinelli would score more from that position where he was, that space he was clogging up.
Martinelli's that every time.
Martinelli's running out to the corner flag with it and shielding.
He gets excited and boots that into fucking Swansea.
Whoever a left winger is, I'd much rather have them on that inside bit there than Calafiori, where he's taking up that space, you know, to the left of the striker at times. He is almost our furthest forward player a lot of the time, which is obviously by design, and I hate it. It really annoys me.
I totally understand what you lot are saying, but I really like him.
I like him, and I want to like him, but then I sit and I think, well, what do I like about him?
I like Maverick footballers, man. And yes,
I do get it, honestly, because he's lovely to watch.
Yeah, he is.
You know, like when he's on the ball, he's lovely, but it's how we use him, I think, more than him. You know, if I'm putting
Yeah,
it
yeah,
my
maybe,
way.
yeah. Look, I get it, mate. I get it, and yeah, we all agree he's a really good footballer.
Yeah.
I like him, man. I like people that just defy tactics and it's like bollocks. I'm gonna go score a goal. Like the one he scored at the Etihad when he just battered it.
Yeah,
Like,
lovely
you know,
goal.
do you know what I mean?
Lovely.
That's inside of the foot, and it just bent away from the keeper, and you're like, and then he celebrated like a proper Italian, like, you know, he just fucking went, and he went and shook Arteta, and I think that was his debut season anyway. But the point is that no, I think actually it might have been, you know, it might have been his debut. But anyway, the point is like, I really like him, lads. I really like the fact that when the maybe we saw him in a capacity where we were so negative as a team that he pushed up a bit, like, you know, or he just went wild for a minute. And I, for the life of me, I don't think Arteta's ever allowed him to do that. And I just think he's done it, and then there's a result at the end of it, so he's kind of just glossed over it. But you know, look, everything you've said tactically completely makes sense. But if he's producing, which he does, then, you know, how much do you want out of your left back? You know, you want him to defend well. Well, he's all right. You know, he wanted
I think
to
that
be
is where he falls down. I don't think he defends well enough
fair enough.
for him. You know,
Fair enough, mate. I'm not going to argue with you on that. You know, but I just think that I think you need a team of you need Mavericks in a team. So not a team of Mavericks, then you just be bollocks. But you know, you need a Maverick in the team, and you need a couple of them.
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't want my Maverick to be my left back.
Yeah.
And I think as well, when we play against teams, they're always looking to counter against us. That is the first ball that I'm playing against Arsenal. The first ball goes into the right channel.
Yep. Don't disagree with you whatsoever. I just think that you know, for me, some of the best football I've ever seen Arsenal play in the last 20 years was that season when we first signed Zinchenko and we signed Jesus, and Zinchenko started at left back every game, and he was inverting, and it was something new that we saw, and it was results based, because when Zinchenko couldn't produce those results, we reverted back to having a normal left back. Because you start to get caught on the ball and whatever, and that might happen to Ricardo Calafiori, you know. But you know, it may just continue as it is now. But he is an X factor, and teams that are really rigid and disciplined, they need X factors. So you know, for me, I love Maverick footballers, mate. I saw him do something for Italy where he was playing in the number 10, and like the actual left back, he actually plays centre back for Italy. And the actual left back, I forget the fella, but you know, the fella that's balding is quite a good player. Plays for he plays for Inter Milan. But anyway,
I can't think of
DiMarco,
right? Yeah, should just shave his hair. His hair's terrible. But but he done a 1-2 with Calafiori, and Calafiori's sitting there in the number 10 spot, and Calafiori plays centre back for them, and he's sitting in the number 10 spot. He passes it to him. He flicks it at the outside of his foot, and then DiMarco bangs it like top corner, and you just need people that, like, if you cannot have enough people that are good at football playing in your team, mate. And he's just good at football, and I'm always going to come back to that, because that's what it comes down to. He's just a really good footballer, and like you can have, like, over the course of a 38 game season, Hincapi will be more solid, will produce all the numbers that you want, and less people will go past him. But Calafiori is a better footballer, and there'll be some games where you need a better footballer to play for you, because he'll be more expressive. So, you know, I'm not saying he's a world beater, but I like Calafiori, so I had to put up some kind of defense.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that he's our best left winger? You know, like if we played him there, could he be our best left winger in a place where we spoke about so much, so where we are struggling for someone?
I mean, there might not be anybody else. There might not be anybody else naturally left-sided. So
I think I'd enjoy him more there. You know, if he didn't have to worry about his defensive sort of side of things, I think I could
maybe
I'll get on board with that more.
He's just a chaos creator, mate, and sometimes that chaos is in our box, but I don't want it to be in our box, which is fine. But you know, Lewis Skelly's pass in the Charity Shield was an amazing pass, and that's the only pass he had because Ricardo Calafiori made that run. Do you know what I mean? So, mate, he's just a really good footballer.
But I think that builds into the fact why I've put him as flop of the season as a bit of a shock. Like I looked at this category when we got sent it and thought, well, I totally get where you're coming from Madueke, but like, is it a bit of an easy pick in terms of, well, yeah, I kind of already know that that's probably going to happen. So I was trying to think in my head, like, what would be a shock flop of the season? Yeah. I think Calafiori would be a bit of a shock.
Look, lads, Nathan, Dave, I've got no defense for you in terms of like what you guys have said. He could easily be the flop of the season, but he could get you 8 goals from left back.
Yeah, I totally see that as well. Actually, yeah, never even considered that, but yeah, that's true.
My choice, on the other hand, will do nothing.
Don't set me up again, for God's sake.
All right, I'll stop.
Well, I haven't even mentioned mine. I'm going to save mine a bit for when we do this next one. Our hottest Arsenal take. Five, want to do yours?
Well, my hottest Arsenal take. I watched Arsenal pre-season, as you guys know, and I watched Arsenal in the in the Charity Shield, and I've noticed a very different style for Arsenal this year. Now, that could all be bollocks by the time the actual real games kick off, but I've seen Arsenal go for teams so far and open up and just, how we like to see football being played. And it's more of a metric that I've gone for rather than some kind of criticism. I think Arsenal will score more first half goals than second half goals this season. I think we're going to go for teams early and we'll bring in that pragmatism. We'll bring in that defensive solidness, but I think we're going to, or solidity, but I think that we are going to see us really go for teams early this year. And so for some weird reason, I just feel like we're going to score a lot more goals in the first half. So don't be late.
Fair enough. Nath, do you want to go for yours?
Yeah, so I just had to check mine because I could not remember for the life of me what I said before.
You can join if you want.
I've put down that Meslier is going to win us a cup as our cup goalkeeper. I think he's got a lot of shit, and rightly so. I still can't get my head around us signing him. But yeah, would it not be the funniest thing in the world that he actually takes us to a cup final? I'm thinking more League Cup here. But yeah, I think we get to a cup final, and I think he's the hero in the final. And I'll go for something else outrageous as well, because I haven't really got a hottest take, so I'll just go for the outrageous. Because of his performances in the League Cup and us winning the League Cup, we win the treble. Why not? Hot take, we go and win the treble.
Fuck me, that's lava, mate. That is. That's the fucking sun of all takes, isn't it? Because he's going to get dropped for the final if we get there, right? Arteta's going to drop him for Raya in the final.
But if he gets us to the final, if it's on him for us getting to the final, that's my hot take. Bit of a laugh, bit of a look. Yeah, not a lot of seriousness behind it, but there you go.
Why not? I obviously took it much too seriously.
I just, only because I struggled. I just couldn't come up with anything, so I thought let's just go for the outrageous.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Yeah. I was tempted to go for a Martinelli one and say that he's going to score a lot of goals, but I just don't think he's going to be an Arsenal player come the end of the window. So I've decided. So I'll tie it into my flop, who I thought was going to be Havertz. I think Gyökeres makes the 9 his own. I think Havertz barely plays, barely scores. Victor Gyökeres is our first 25 goal striker. I looked it up just a minute ago. Since 2012. Van Persie that season. I think he scores 25 goals in the Premier League this season, and he is, still looks rubbish doing it, but I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna play more to his strengths this year. I think we're gonna look a lot better with him. I think Havertz is just gonna either get injured or I just don't think Havertz is particularly good. I think he's fine. I think he does some good stuff, but I think overall he's just not that great of a footballer anymore. So yeah, I think Gyökeres 25 goals, probably 30 when you include the Champions League goals he scores on the way to winning that trophy as well. So yeah, that's mine. That's my hot take. Yeah, you might as well go for one.
Yeah, I still think that's more likely than mine, so you're all good.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to go for Martinelli to beat his 15 goals in the Premier League, but I just don't think he's actually going to be an Arsenal player. So I thought I might as well try and get one that I think is at least has a chance come Christmas time when we look back at these or something. Well, let's move on to our Premier League predictions then. We'll go through these fairly quick because we've done all the Arsenal ones. Let's look at our top fours. I mean, there's some takes in here as well, so let's call them up. We're not keen on Man City, are we, between us? I mean, Nave, you've got Man City as the finishing third, and that's the best we've got on between us.
Yeah, I still think that top three is the top three in the league. I still think that everybody else has got work to do and is a bit of a mess. And even with those two teams having new managers, I still think that squad-wise, they are the top three.
I mean, Fize, should we save your Man City thing for the Premier League hot take, or do you want to do it now?
We'll save it for the hot take, mate.
All right, we'll save it for then. Well, obviously, I spoke about Liverpool for me winning the league earlier, then Arsenal. I do think Chelsea have made some all right signings, not necessarily the Welbeck-Henderson ones, but I think they're going to, they haven't got anything else to worry about. A bit like Man U last year, where they haven't really got anything else to worry about, have they, this season? It's all about the league, and I think we're going to see them.
The disrespect on Welbs. Oh.
I mean, he's about 45 years old. I think he was finished when we sold him about 8 years ago, wasn't he? I think even when we signed him, he wasn't exactly a prolific striker, was he? So, it's a weird one. But, I think they've made some all right signings. I think Rodgers is a much better signing for them than he would have been for us as well. Things
Agreed.
Like that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think they've got the makings of a good team there. And, without any European football to worry about, I think they could sneakily do pretty well this year. A bit like, as I say, Man U last year. Yeah, and I just don't think Man City are going to be very good. So, that's why they're my fourth. So.
Well, Chelsea have got a better manager than everyone apart from us. Yeah, Chelsea are the only other team that have got a league champion manager who knows how to win a league.
Yeah,
the rest of them are trying. So yeah, I think they suffer at the back, but yeah. Fair enough. I don't mind them at all. I could have easily have gone for Man United falling out of the top four because I think Carrick gets found out this year. I think Man U get found out a little bit this year. So I could have done that, but yeah, I just don't. I think we're overestimating City, and they've lost Pep. They've lost Pep. They've lost Pep. They've lost Bernardo Silva and they've lost Rodri. So they're relying on Haaland, mate. And I think, okay, Haaland score. I don't disagree with what you guys are saying if Haaland scores 35 goals this year. If he doesn't, this isn't this is PTSD talking, mate. I think they'll struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I thought fourth was them struggling. In fairness, I thought I'd have them struggling, but
I think even people like Anderson and stuff like
that's it.
He's going to have that price tag sitting on him.
By the time this window's done, they're going to spend 300 million plus on that midfield, aren't they, to replace Rodri and there's a lot there. Nate, what about yours? Are you about your top four
for City?
Well, just in general. Top four. Just in general.
So, yeah, I think obviously we spoke about Arsenal. I touched on Liverpool. I'm with you, Dave. I think it's going to be a match made in heaven. I think it works. I think Salah's going to be a big miss. I do still think they've got issues. Alisson is still there. Van Dijk's another year older, and things like that. I still don't think they've really sorted out that centre back issue that they've got going on. but I think they're the best of the rest, 100%. I think for me, with City, I just think it's when you lose someone of Pep's magnitude, there's a drop-off, usually quite a big one, before it rebalances itself. Kind of a bit like when Klopp left Liverpool, there was a bit of a bounce, wasn't there? And then, I know Slot won the league, but for me, that was still Klopp's team. That was still a Jurgen Klopp team. He didn't have to do anything to that at all for them to win the league. And then he got found out when it wasn't Klopp's team anymore. I think City will find something similar. I wouldn't sleep too much on Semenyo and Doku. Doku was sneakily getting into discussions for PFA Player of the Year for me at the end of the season. He didn't have enough good games, but towards the end of the season, he was dynamite. He scared the life out of me. He was the one. Even over, this is a mad take, even over Haaland, towards the back end of the season, it was Doku who was making the moves for City. If he can replicate that for a 38-game season, he'll be in and around the discussions for top awards and stuff like that. So I think City will be fine in terms of top four. And I just think Man United, going back to what I said about Arsenal in terms of like being settled and having a direction and things like that, I think Carrick has had has got his feet under his table. He's going to have a full pre-season behind him this time. And I think that will massively, massively help United. The flip side to that is how they're going to handle Europe. But I've just got a feeling that they'll crash out quite early. I think the first decent team they come across will batter them in Europe. I don't think they're ready for that yet. And I think all the focus will be back on getting back into the top four for them. But I could equally put Chelsea there as well. Very, very equally put Chelsea there as well. I just think United will sneak in.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think any of them have done really well in the transfer window either. I think Man United have bought poorly. I think Chelsea have bought poorly.
I don't mind Man United signing, to be honest. I don't think they're necessarily like the best signings in the world, but I think they're players that make sense for what they need. I don't think they're anything that sort of like
it's practical
jumps off the page,
isn't it?
Yeah. I think they're going to make them better because I think they had a lot of holes. I think that's the problem with Man United. I think we had a lot of holes, and I think they've signed okay players. I think they signed players that make them better. Is sort of what I'm getting at, I suppose.
Man United lack legs all around the park. They just don't get around the park as some of the other teams do. The elite teams, they have immense amount of running power in their teams, and I just don't think Man United do. And I think Man United might get found out this year a little bit. Yeah, look, I mean, the City thing for me is just based on the fact that I just don't think I think Maresca might be in trouble by Christmas. It can go that way, right? So
yeah, 100%.
So if it goes like that, and you only need one crack, you only need one player to say, "Well, you're not Pep," and that starts becoming the theme then, and I think that rolls on, and this City team that we are saying, I'll make you right. Doku was playing better than I've ever seen him play last year for about 8 games.
I was surprised by it. I was surprised.
So this same City team last year, but like went through a stage of I think they lost like 6 in a row. I think they did. So they've got the opposite potential as well to to really implode if they need to. And they just they've parted with some of their best players. So I think it's a big job for him. And I don't think he's as clear cut as he thinks. And I think, funnily enough, the most settled after us, the most settled team is probably Liverpool. And I think they don't creep in on merit. I just think it's a matter of how settled they are as a squad and know what's required of them. But I'll go back to what we said about us winning the league. I think we win it by 10 points. So yeah. Bring it on.
Right. Well, let's move on to probably one of the easiest ones we've done on this, the relegated teams. You two both gone for the 3 teams that come up, basically. don't really need to go too much into that, do we? I think it's pretty obvious why, isn't it?
Yeah, history.
Yeah.
They haven't really
Yeah.
spent money. You know, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have not put Coventry in there, but it's basically just because two of my best mates are Coventry fans. You know, just out of loyalty to them, I sort of want them to stay up. So I'll sort of pick someone who I think it feels like Fulham. You know, they're just such a nothingy team, aren't they? Just like, who cares if they go down, really? You know, I thought I'd just pick someone at random, really. So I might as well go for Fulham because it sort of feels time for them to have a little bit of a drop away, doesn't it? You know, go out of the league and come back again because they sort of float around, don't really do anything much, do they? They're sort of just there. So yeah, I don't think they'd be a massive loss to the Premier League. No, sorry, Fulham fans. No, who are the famous Fulham fans? Like Richard Osman, is that about it? Do anyone else is there?
Don't know.
That's it, exactly. Who cares? Richard Osman. See you later. Let's move on to the PFA Player of the Year then. There's a theme here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me you're listening to an Arsenal podcast, right? Tell me you're listening to an Arsenal podcast.
I don't know what's happened to this picture of Rice here because I don't know who that is in that picture there. I don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
Good old AI. I don't think I really say much more about this. I think we covered it with the. I just think this is his season to come back, and if Bruno can be named Player of the Year, I think Odegaard is 100 times the player he is.
So what you're saying, Dave, is that Liverpool will win the league, but Odegaard will be Player of the Season.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
I mean, Man United finished third, and Bruno won it this year. So
yeah, and that fair. As soon as you said Man United, it makes sense.
I think they sort of set a precedent where it doesn't have to be for the winning team now, which I think is. I don't really have a problem with that, other than the person who actually broke that run. Really, you know, it's
yeah. Well, look, I mean,
I think Odegaard's going to have I think he's going to have a season similar to what he had. What did it be 3-4 years ago now?
Yeah.
Where I think he had every chance of being named Player of the Year if Haaland didn't have a ludicrous year that year.
10 goals, 10 assists, you know, Premier League, like, you know, a proper good season. Like, but you know what? Now that I've seen Nath up there picking at Rice almost seems like everyone wants him to have a good season.
Yeah.
And if the Premier League need an excuse to give it to Rice because he's so like, you know, what was like photogenic and like, you know, the whole kind of he's so good on the camera and stuff like, and he speaks well.
Your classic English midfielder as well, really, isn't it? Or at least sort of in the modern game, he is sort of a bit your throwback still.
Like Brian Robson type of thing, you know, like.
Which makes it even more mad they didn't give it to him last year, to be honest. You know, like we were champions.
That was
he was probably the candidate from it, and they still didn't give it to him.
To be fair, they've not announced it yet, have they?
I don't know. It normally follows on from the others, though, doesn't it? And
it normally does. Yeah, but the actual PFA Player of the Year, he's on the shortlist, isn't he? I think him, Gabriel, Raya are on the shortlist with Bruno, Haaland.
I think it would be.
I can't remember who it was for the life
of
me.
Nico Riley, maybe?
I don't know. I think he was on the young player list, weren't he?
Was he?
I want to say Morgan Floyd. I might have got that massively wrong. I might have just got that
because they were down near the bottom of the table. I don't think it'd have been him, would it?
I know, but he had a
I could look it up, but that. No point.
Either way, like for me, it shouldn't even be a conversation. To be honest, it's Rice all day long. But yeah.
But you think this year it's Declan Rice's time?
Yeah. I just think, like I said before, I think this is a mad thought, but I think people take for granted how good he is because he does it on such a consistent level that it's become the norm. It's become the norm. An 8 out of 10 performance is normal.
Yeah.
That is not normal over 38 games at all. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just not.
That's why I think what's his name will struggle. Anderson will struggle for City because Declan Rice has put the bar way up there now for £100 million midfielder. That they're going to expect that from him, and it's unfair on the lad. But yeah, that's what they're going to want him to either be Rodri or be Declan Rice, and that's just fucking impossible, isn't it?
I think he's a really good player, but I just don't think he is that level. I just really don't. But
no, I think he's a superb player, but he's got time on his side anyway, hasn't he? So we'll see how he gets on. But what I will say is, just to throw out a non-Arsenal player, if Doku can produce what he produced at the back end of the season over the course of the season, not necessarily for 38 games, because that's just nobody's doing that, are they? But if he can produce that form for a long period of the season, I think he'll definitely be in with a shout, because he was phenomenal.
Boo. I want him to be the jumpy left winger that he is, who just jumps around and does nothing, and just kind of has fits when he's with the ball and just hops his leg around everywhere and does nothing with it.
That's what I thought he was up until the back end of last season. I was like, and then he got his shit together, and it was oh my god, there's a player here.
He was bending it with both feet, top bins.
Yeah.
What was the thing with him? Where was it like every time he scored, like then you looked up who the right back was or something? He was always like over 30 or something like that. It was like a streak of him. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along those lines, wasn't it? I always used to enjoy that, because it honestly happened like every time. Every time we played an older right back, he scored or something, and then anytime he was younger, he struggled. Let's go into. I found this one the hardest out of all of them. So the Premier League breakout star.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to pick the same as the Arsenal ones, really, because I could have picked Down when I could have picked Lewis Skelly, really, but I wanted to pick someone else.
Who the fuck's JJ Gabriel?
He's the one from Man U.
He's 15, is he?
Yeah, I think he's sort of what they think is their Dowman. So I thought I'd just go for someone a bit wild, because a bit like the Arsenal one, it's hard to pick someone to be a breakout star, especially in this day and age when everyone, like, from social media and stuff, whenever they're younger and stuff, like even when they're like 16, 17, you still see so many clips of them. So yeah, it was just a bit of a wild card. I thought I'd just throw someone out. I've seen lots of talk about him being, having it and stuff, and it's just whether he gets the chance this year and stuff. But
honestly, fair play. I do not know who that is.
You've probably seen him. He had a video where he was basically like playing on some this 4G pitch, doing about 1 billion step overs and stuff, and it was a bit of a weird.
Oh, fuck off. Do you know what? I could have a video of me on a 4G pitch, and I look like there's 20 million quid's worth of talent there, right there, mate.
You know these ones when they're working with their coach or whatever, and it was that. But yeah, I've heard lots of talk that he's supposedly the real deal. So I thought I'd just throw one out there, really. But probably is Dowman, if I was being honest. If I didn't want to just copy your one. But God, Nate, do you want to go with yours?
Yeah, again, I struggled. You'd argue that he had his breakout season last year, wouldn't you? To be fair,
he's a really good player, man.
He's been touted for like 80-90 million this summer, isn't he? Or something.
I'm surprised no one's actually done it. I'm surprised no one's pulled the trigger on him, to be honest. Because
I am. Well,
at the end of last season, I'd have been stunned if he was still a Bournemouth player at this stage.
He should be Arsenal's left-sided midfielder.
Yeah, I'm really surprised we haven't been linked with him a bit. I
think he broke his leg or something, or he got a serious injury. He's out till like Christmas, I think.
I think I saw that as well.
He's an Arsenal legend. He has to play for us.
I always wonder with them players, like, can they actually? I never know whether they can actually sign for someone, because they obviously can't pass a medical. So I don't know how that works with all that sort of side of things. So they have to wait, or they can sign and just you know that he's injured.
But yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I really, really struggled to think about this one. I probably should have put a bit more research into it, to be honest with you. But yeah, he was just the first name that popped into my head. But again, like I said, I think he broke out last season, to be fair. And I didn't want to say an Arsenal player because we've already done that.
I think if he took it to another level, I think it still counts as a breakout.
Yeah.
It's like, he was really good, and then if he becomes like an absolute star, then
Yeah, it's like the lad that he plays with at Bournemouth, Alex Scott. He's a good player, and he could have easily been. But then he kind of had his breakout last year, didn't he? But really sort of neat and tidy footballer.
You can see both of them taking another step on, though, couldn't you, and becoming like
absolutely
proper stars.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good under pressure. Really good end product. Just really, really good technical footballers. So. Yeah, any one of them. Anything
else you want to say, Dowman? I mean,
I've run out, mate. Honestly, I've run out. He's run out. I think he's brilliant.
It's hard to argue with that one. Yeah. Well, let's get on to our last one of the night. Premier League hot take. Nath, go ahead.
I think I said Leeds will get European football this season.
You did?
I really like some of the moves that they're making in the transfer market.
Yeah, they've been solid.
And I think they are improving hand over fist. And again, I know I've banged this drum all night. It plays into where other teams are at and who are a little bit sort of like an unknown quantity. Whereas I think Leeds have come up, consolidated really well. They've improved, I think, massively in terms of who they've signed this summer so far. So yeah, I can honestly see Leeds sneaking. Bit like sort of Bournemouth, a bit like Sunderland flirted with it. I think they got in, didn't they? Sunderland got in, yeah. Kind of that sort of ilk of a season where they creep in there. Again, based on they've improved massively, and I think other teams will take a back step. I think those teams that are in Europe, your Bournemouth, your Brighton, your Sunderlands are going to struggle with that balancing act between Europe and Premier League. So yeah, I think Leeds can get European football. That's my hot take.
Yeah, nice. I'll do mine and I'll leave yours for last, Fize, then, because yours is Man City based, I assume. I'm going to say that mine's also Man City based. I'm going to say by the end of the season, their manager is Cesc Fabregas. I think he gets sacked. I think they're not very good. I think Cesc Fabregas is probably the next one up, I guess, of like that next level of manager. If they're going to go for a young manager, I don't think there's really a better one out there, or at least sort of reputation wise and potential wise. So yeah, I think Cesc Fabregas ends the season as Man City's manager, because I think it's going to go bad at Man City, and then they're going to make a change quickly. I don't know. He just feels like he's going to fit in. I'll absolutely hate it. I'll hate to see him there, which would, Ugh,
we're kind of noticing a trend with your takes here, Dave.
What's that?
There's some kind of like punishment going on with yourself. I know the worst is going to happen.
I do think he is going to be the manager of a bigger club than Como in the not too distant future. Yeah. I love everything he says. Every time he speaks about football and things like that, I really enjoy. I like his takes. I like his style.
He's Wenger, isn't he? He's Wenger incarnate.
He is. It really is that, isn't it? Like, he really does have that Wenger vibe to him. Where he
he plays lovely football now.
Yeah, it's sort of like talk about the beautiful game almost, isn't it? It's that real sort of thing that we just don't really get anymore. I like Fabregas as a manager, but unfortunately, I think he's going to end up there because it just makes sense to me, really. Because we're not going to have an opening. I don't know. The other big clubs are going to have an opening. And, I think he's only going to leave there for a massive club because they've obviously got a lot of money to spend, haven't they, in Como?
Well, he owns part of the club, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Thierry
Henry
owns a bit of it as well.
Yeah, they're a weird old club, aren't they? But I don't think even they couldn't begrudge him moving on to something like City, could they? Really, if that job came up, because it's a massive job.
But that is the beginning of their spiral, mate. That is the beginning of their spiral. If they change a manager this season, which I'm with you, I think they will at some point, and I think that's the beginning of their spiral, mate. Because the first thing that happens when Man City get a spot of bother is that the papers and everyone just start. Barca want Haaland, Real Madrid want Haaland, and then it's just a never ending until it actually happens. And that's the spiral. Because City there isn't a player like Haaland now. And my hot take is that City won't finish in the top 4, and that's as ludicrous as it sounds. The more I think about it, the more I'm convincing myself it might happen, because their whole season rests on Haaland. If we're saying Doku and Semenyo and these types of players, like, great, okay, these are good players, Cherky and all that, but their best seasons are like 8 goals. Their best season ever. You've got their midfield is not the same. Basically, you remove Rodri out of any team, and it's just a massive hole to fill. And like,
that's the one, isn't it? That's the one.
Yeah, you've got to change the way you are to kind of accommodate that. I don't think Phil Foden gets another season again where he was phenomenal a few years ago. There's no doubt about it. I just don't think Man City have bought enough, and that's what they should have done this year, was to make Maresca's life easier. They should have gone for like genuine match winners, like just genuine match winners. Just give him all the artillery he's going to need to make him, to make his job easier for him, because it's going to, whether they like it or not, they're in transition now. He's not Pep Guardiola. He's not. And he's levels below Pep Guardiola. As I said a bit earlier, he's won nothing. So we're kind of saying that this team is going to function in a cohesive way, and it's going to be Pep all over. But Pep changed how he played like almost every season. There was inverting fullbacks, and then there was, the team that had Mahrez and all De Bruyne and all those types of players, and Gundogan, who had a magnificent season. Then he had Haaland, and he switched the way he played, and he was very dependent on Haaland now. Look, the likelihood is Haaland scores 35 goals next year, and whatever cracks there are get covered over. That's the likelihood. My hot take is I think teams go for them next year, because you get that aura when you're champion. You still got Pep Guardiola. You're just worried about something you haven't. You're worried about the team from the outset. You've lost the game in the tunnel. And I just think that it's just not the same. It's just not the same. And they just need a couple of games where it doesn't go well for them. They let in a late goal. They let a result slip, and teams will start going for them. This league is horrible like that. We know this. So it's all down to Haaland, mate. And, my hot take is they don't finish in the top 4. There's a few teams out there who've spent a lot of money, including Tottenham, who have got no European football, and they're just gonna go for teams. And City is the type of team that they will absolutely delight in just turning over. Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, because we've all taken hidings from City for the last few years. Absolute hidings. So they get a chance, they'll go for them. And I think it's not difficult. I literally think there are journalists with in their drafts just got headlines ready. Maresca under pressure. He might be bald, but he's not Pep. All the headlines are ready, right? So I think I think it could happen. So it's possible. I was torn between that and saying that Newcastle were going to struggle big time next year.
I'm not sure how hot that is anymore. I think
I just think
they've sold so many players, haven't they? Their squad is garbage.
But I thought that's a bit predictable, is it?
Yeah, I almost went for Tottenham doing well this year. I think Tottenham might do okay. I don't think they've got some great squad, but I thought I can't do that. I can't be backing Tottenham on here.
Don't score enough goals, mate.
I just think they might do okay. The same way sort of Nath was speaking about Leeds. I think Tottenham could, maybe sneak up there and be a Europa League team or something. But
there's a few teams that I think won't do. I don't think Villa will do well this year. I think Villa will struggle this year. So there's a few teams that are going to be. I think the natural order of the Premier League, which we kind of understand, that's going to be a bit more, what we're used to. I think this year, in terms of mid-table clubs return to mid-table because Chelsea and Man United have spent the GDP of a small country to get back up there again. So I think there's a bit more. The natural order will kind of take shape again, but fuck them. We'll smash them all anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I think that brings us to the end. We will be checking back on these through the season. So, in your career, there's on 2 goals at Christmas. So you can come back to me on that one. But
when City are 10 points clear and we're third,
that'll be fun.
4, 5.
Coventry have somehow got up into the top 2 or 3 or something, and doing a Leicester. We'll be back next week. We'll actually be back on Friday. I think we're going to try and do a post-match show, aren't we? Which, Premier League is with us. Can't believe it's here, but looking forward to doing it.
Good.
Yeah, so that should be a lot of fun. So make sure you subscribe, because you'll get a notification when we do go live or whatever we do with that show. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, make sure you do all those things. Follow us everywhere, at Clock End Tap Room, wherever you want to follow us. So yeah, until then, next time we speak to you, we will have Premier League football back, and I cannot wait. So yeah, cheers, lads. We've done the off season. We're through pre-season. We're now into the main event.
We're match fit now.
Yeah,
that's it. We've got 22 episodes out, and we've never even had a game to talk about. So that's pretty good going, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're really into it. So yeah, make sure you follow us, because yeah, I think we're going to have some good stuff coming up. Right, let's call it there. See you later, lads. And we'll see you next time.
cheers,
See you,
everyone.
boys.